Welcome to the World Cinema Forum. We have rounded up some of our all time favorite movies based on books, which takes into account both how well the movie adapted its original source material as well as its overall success as a standalone piece of work. So let's see which are the movies on the list. Number 1, To Kill a Mockingbird. The 1962 adaptation of Harper Lee's classic Pulitzer Prize winning novel focuses on the deft character work Lee creates in his book. By bringing Atticus Finch, Siot, and Boo Radley to life and following the novel's slow burn plot structure, the film transplants the book's two strongest elements into a movie we still can't get enough of. Number 2, The Godfather. Mario Puzo's novel is an absorbing, dark thriller that fascinates, horrifies, and entertains. The first two films Francis Ford Coppola adapted from the novel elevate the sordid story into operative triumphs that some consider to be two of the best films ever made. Both films won Oscars for the Best Picture, Part 2 being the first sequel to do so, and the Best Adapted Screenplay. Third movie on the list is Little Women, released in 2019. Despite her surprising shutout in Oscar nominations, there's no doubt that Greta Gerwig did something remarkable with her adaptation of Louisa May Alcott's classic novel. Gerwig adds a simple twist to the story by imagining that Jo is actually the author of the novel Little Women. This transforms the story into one about creative passion and achievement, and in one stroke makes the classic feel fresh without betraying its essential nature. Number 4, The Color Purple, released in 1985. Steven Spielberg created a stellar adaptation of Alice Walker's novel, and one that is extremely faithful to the novel in terms of both plot and character. This is a true achievement because Spielberg relies on his actors to convey much of the emotional content through their performance, whereas in the novel, we are privy to Celi's inner thoughts and feelings. The phenomenal performances from the cast make this film a must-watch. Fifth movie on the list is The Wizard of Oz, released in 1939. Relatively faithful to the source material, the reason the 1939 Wizard of Oz adaptation remains such a powerful part of our shared cinematic consciousness is because of how it brings L. Frank Baum's imagination to life. It is easy to forget 8 decades later just how incredible this film looked to audiences of that time. Drenched in color, the film has visual morsels tucked into every inch of every frame. You can watch the movie a dozen times and still notice new flourishes. This rich visual approach nails the airy, delightful tone of the novel. Sixth movie on the list is The Remains of the Day, released in 1993. Kazuo Ishiguro's novel is a beautiful character study, told from the point of view of English butler Stevens. And while James Ivory's adaptation keeps the fundamental structure, it also takes a step back. The novel is firmly rooted in Stevens' point of view, while the film keeps all the characters at equal length, resulting in a more comprehensive way of Stevens' world. Well, the climax of the film is arguably more subtly tragic and less hopeful than the novel, but it fits with the restrained, almost chilly atmosphere Ivory painstakingly creates. Seventh movie on the list is Sense and Sensibility, released in 1995. Emma Thompson's 1995 screenplay adaptation of the Jane Austen novel, directed by Ang Lee, alters many of the characters in subtle but effective ways to make them more appealing to the modern sensibilities while maintaining the dynamics and tension in the original book. The result was an Oscar for Thompson for Best Adapted Screenplay and a film that remains one of the best modern versions of the novel. Eighth movie on the list is Forrest Gump, released in 1994. Well, Forrest Gump won 6 Oscars, including Best Picture, and remains a divisive film in many ways. You either find it charming and filled with wisdom, or you don't. What can't be argued is that it's a film that took strong source material and created an ambitious and creative visual story from it. Winston Groom's novel is darker and more morally complex than the streamlined character depicted by Tom Hanks. But exercising that complexity in favor of the sprawling tour through the 20th century is the key to the film's power and charm. Ninth movie on the list is Persepolis, released in 2007. The adaptation of Marianne Satrapi's stunning and autobiographical graphic novel matches the bold black and white art style of the book, bringing the story of her experience growing up in the midst of Iranian revolution to life. The film takes the episodic nature of the novel and creates a real narrative from it, but is very faithful to the voice, tone, and events of the story. The end result is one of the most visually unique films of the modern era. The 10th movie on the list is Dr. Zhivago, released in 1965. David Lean's 1965 adaptation of Boris Pasternak's most famous novel is very faithful to the novel's plot, depicting the events in a visually breathtaking style. Lean focuses on the love story and the dreamy poet side of Zhivago's character, resulting in a film that is so beautiful and so fluidly shot you can enjoy it with the sound off, a feat that only a few films can manage. That's the end of this video, guys. We will be bringing to you another list of 10 movies based on the books in the part 2 of this video series. So till then, stay tuned.